Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 7th Annual Bellevue University Athletics Hall of Fame Banquet. We're very excited that all of you are here this evening to join in the fun. My name is Mick Krupski. If you've listened to Bellevue University internet broadcasts over the last decade or so, I'm the knucklehead on the other side of the microphone who's bringing the action your way. I'm very excited to be the MC tonight as we proudly add 5 new members to the Bellevue University Athletics Hall of Fame. Please join me in welcoming the 5 new members. First of all, Gunnar Brown. Jason Jarvis. Mike Livergood. Ron Ptacek. And last but not least, Jarvis Walton. We'll hear from each of these honorees tonight in just a little bit, but first we eat. At this time, I'd like to invite Kevin Riley, a member of the Hall of Fame class of 2014, to come to the podium to deliver our opening invocation.
Yes, Coach, this is a prayer. Let us pray. Lord, thank you for the opportunity to honor this year's inductees into the Bellevue University Hall of Fame and this year's recipient of the Jerry and Gloria Mosser Scholarship. Thank you for placing Jerry and Gloria at this university 47 years ago. For if not for them and their work and passion, none of this would have been possible. Thank you for the lifelong friendships that have grown from this program. Thank you for Ed Ptacek and his staff and the Hall of Fame committee, and especially for Trish Sedlick for her tireless efforts in organizing the events of the past few days. Please bless those who have prepared our dinner and bless this food in which we now partake. In God's name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Kevin. All right, who's hungry? All right, again, thank you everyone for coming out to tonight's event. I've been involved with Bellevue University Athletics for about 12 years now, and one of the highlights of that time period is the joy of seeing a lot more victories and very few losses. I'm sure many of you can say the very same thing. The 5 honorees that will be inducted into the Hall of Fame tonight, I'm sure, can look upon their careers and say the same thing. We're gathered here tonight to honor a group of people who can say the same thing, but before we recognize them, we have some other introductions first. I'd like to recognize former BU basketball coach and athletic director and the first Hall of Fame inductee, Jerry Mosser, and his wife, Gloria. Please stand. I've learned all kinds of interesting things about Jerry this evening, so maybe some of them are even true. Current Bellevue Athletic Director, Ed Ptacek, and his wife, Peggy. Also with us tonight are several Hall of Fame inductees from previous years. From the class of 2014, please welcome Buzz Garlock and Kevin Riley. Three members of the class of 2017, Kelly Cheshire, Joe Forrell, and Marilyn Ralston. And from the class of 2018, Andy Lewis. Many people should be recognized for putting this event together, and I'd like to take this time to say thank you to them. Trish Sedlick. Cody Banks. Doreen Narofsky. Chelsea Sluter. Leslie LeBoy. Michaela Miller. Alicia Williams. Karen Robinson. And the audiovisual staff from Bellevue University. Thank you for putting this event together. And lest we forget the wonderful dinner we had tonight, I'd like to acknowledge Jim Moeller and the staff from Custom Catering for the delicious meal. And also thank you to Doug Benston for tending bar. The Bellevue University Athletic Program has a long and storied history that cannot be told without recognizing the inaugural events under the direction of Jerry Mosser's nearly half-century of service to the university. Starting in 1972 through and beyond his retirement in 2008, he and Gloria dedicated their efforts to Bellevue University's student-athletes, and those relationships have grown even stronger over time. Coach, Gloria, thank you for all of your dedication and efforts through the years. One of the continuing things that they do for the university and a student athlete is they recognize a scholarship endowed by them for a Bellevue University student. This year's recipient is basketball player Laura Jurek. Laura, please stand. And now we direct your attention to the video screens to talk a little bit more about that.
When the Hall of Fame was first initiated, the group that started it started with a Jerry and Gloria Mosser scholarship program for the athletes at Bellevue University. What this does is it gives an opportunity for our athletes to have more scholarships, and through different kind of functions, for example, our golf tournament, we can raise money to increase that scholarship. We also have donations from different people in the community and from people that are ex-athletes. So by donating to this program, even though you're not in the Hall of Fame, it definitely helps our athletes. Bellevue has built a great program in athletics, and they need more support in the area of scholarships. We also would like to see more in the area of maybe weight rooms and fields and maybe even a gymnasium. But the scholarship program that my wife and me are involved with is very important to the student athlete. So please, if you have the time to donate, please donate to this program. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Laura Jurek. I'm a sophomore here. I play basketball and I'm majoring in health science. I chose Bellevue because I grew up here. I always knew about the college, but in high school I was really looking for a college that had the small classroom aspect with some kind of science labs that would really help me in my future. Being on a team is really important to put others above yourself because you want to push them to the best of their ability, but that will also make you better. And so every day in practice, helping girls to succeed and trying to get better, you're helping yourself in the long run. And I believe that just being like a family and then always being there and supporting them is the best way to be a teammate. I just want to say thank you to Jerry and Gloria Mosser for their scholarship. It really means a lot to me and my future education.
Again, thank you, Jerry and Gloria. Congratulations to Laura, and also Laura's parents, Steve and Julie. Would you please stand to be recognized? Good luck with the rest of your career in basketball. All right, let's get down to the matter at hand, the induction of 5 new members of the Bellevue University Athletics Hall of Fame. This outstanding group of people consists of student athletes from 3 different sports, a member of the media, and a dedicated staff member. All 5 have done things both ordinary and extraordinary to help their careers and to help Bellevue University, part of the group that we call the Bruin family. We want to thank them for their dedication and their contributions and hope to give them a lifelong memory as members of the elite group, the Bellevue University Athletic Hall of Fame. All right, ready to go? Our first inductee in the class of 2019 is Ron Ptacek. Ron, please stand so we can get a good look at you. I've had the pleasure of knowing Ron since 1969 when we were both freshmen at nearby Gross High School. How many of you were even alive in 1969? All right, okay, there's a few hands up there, very good. Ron enters the hall as a media contributor in thanks for his 25-plus years of involvement with Bellevue sports with his voice and his pen, or maybe we should say computer keyboard these days. Ron's voice has been heard doing public address announcing, play-by-play coverage of numerous sports, and doing this job, MC of many banquets here at Bellevue University. Ron's newspaper career has grown from him being the sports editor of the Bellevue Leader. He's now currently the executive editor of the 4, count them 4, newspapers in the Suburban Newspaper Group. Ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention to the video board once again as we learn more about Ron Ptacek.
Ron Ptacek, media personality. An Omaha native, Petak has been involved in Bellevue University athletics since the mid-1980s. He has served the BU athletic department as the play-by-play voice for Bruins men's basketball games for tape delay on the Bellevue Access Channel, provided his voice for radio play-by-play for BU baseball, and hosted the Bruins sports cable TV show with former coach and Hall of Famer Todd Eisner. After 2 years as a columnist for the Omaha World-Herald, Petak took a job at the Bellevue Leader in May of 1985 and began his position as sports editor in November of that year. He was named the Bellevue Leader news editor in 1990, and in 1999 was named the executive editor of the Bellevue Leader, Papillion Times, Gretna Breeze, and Ralston Recorder. From sports writer to the executive editor of 4 local newspapers, Petak has kept the Bruins athletics program, the university, and its people in the public's eye. He has won numerous state and national awards for writing and page design and was presented the Distinguished Communication Service Award in 2013 from the University of Nebraska at Omaha School of Communication. He has been a presenter for local, state, and national seminars and webinars. Petak worked in the press box at Don Roddy Field for the Bellevue baseball team during coach and fellow Hall of Famer Joe Forrell's career and introduced that Casio keyboard to Bruin baseball. He helped keep Bruin athletics relevant when the times were tough and helped celebrate the successes of today. He's been a consistent supporter since the days of Coach Moser to the athletic program the school is proud of today. Petak has served as the MC for numerous Bellevue athletic events, including Athlete of the Year banquets, Hall of Fame banquets, and former men's basketball coach and athletic director Jerry Moser's retirement gala. Ron and his wife Kathy have 2 daughters, Sarah and Stephanie, a 5-year-old grandson Dylan, and a 2-year-old granddaughter Mackenzie.
I first met Ron Ptacek when he was the sports writer for the Bellevue Leader, and I was the baseball coach at Bellevue College. Ron would interview me after the ball games, and our agreement was that I would answer his questions, and it was his job to make it sound like I knew what I was talking about.
About 27 years ago, a young man walked into my office after a basketball game, and it just happened to be one that I lost. And usually it's not a good idea to come in my office and talk to me, but Ron walked in and introduced himself, and the paper hadn't covered us very well, and Ron was new, and he came in and he started talking to me, and of course with my attitude I said this and said that about the game and about the way the kids played, and so he walked out, and the next day the paper came out, and it was like he talked to somebody else. He wrote up such a great story on our program, and that's how I got to know him. He did an excellent job, and through the years, almost the 20 years that I coached, He wrote some great articles, even though one year I was 0-21, and he made it sound like we were always close and we were always in the game. So a very good writer and a really good friend. Through the years, I got to know his family, and his devotion to Bellevue University, he covered everything: baseball, basketball, volleyball, everything. So I believe that he is a good person for the Hall of Fame.
Bellevue University's never had a bigger champion than Ron Ptacek. From sports writer to the sports editor to the editor of the newspaper, Ron has always been a champion for the university and for the athletic department. He's just been a super supporter of Bellevue University and Bellevue College. Well, Ron used to sit up in the press box with Dr. Spivak in announcing the baseball games. And I think Ron had a little more to do with the nicknames that Mr. Spivak used to call the ball players, like Mike, Let's Get Down and Boogay was one of the favorite names of the team. It just always kind of added a little levity to the games, but as a coach, you kind of wanted to have the guys a little more focused on what was going on. But with Ron and Dr. Spivak up there making up names for players, it made it hard sometimes to concentrate on the field.
One year we were playing volleyball against St. Mary's College, which we all have a big rival for, and there was a man in the crowd that was giving us a lot of guff, and he'd been giving us guff for years. So I went up and I was about ready to throw him out, but I didn't. So I kind of quieted him up and then went back. Well, the next week in the paper, Ron decides that he has a friend at Gross High School that has a daughter that plays for St. Mary's. So he decided to write me up and said some really nasty things about me, and I've never forgot that. So Ron, I kind of question, I voted for you, but I only voted half for the Hall of Fame. So thank you again for everything you've done.
Ron deserves to be in the Hall of Fame because there's a few things in life that are guaranteed. Without Ron's support, along with Coach Mosser's constant pushing for the program, there may not be an athletic program at Bellevue University like it is today. I want to say congratulations to Ron and thank him for his support of the university and the athletic program, and for all those individuals that enjoy the athletic program that Bellevue University has today.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Ron Ptacek. Mike is yours.
Coach, I never wrote one bad thing about you. First of all, I want to thank Mick for the introduction because, as he said, the irony of all of this, we go back to Gross High School, St. Mary's University. Mick has done a lot of play-by-play, and I've been in the media business for a long time, and I couldn't think of anybody I would rather have introduced me than you, Mick. Thank you. I also want to thank the Hall of Fame committee for their support. Kevin and Buzz, Joe, Coach. I appreciate all your support. I started covering Bellevue University sports in October of 1985. And it wasn't much longer after that I had my first interview with Coach Mosser. And contrary to urban legend, Coach's first quote to me was fit to print. It was quotes 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 that I couldn't use. But it was the beginning of, I've been at the paper for 34 years, and it's been a great relationship with Bellevue University. Having attended an NAIA school in St. Mary's, which I reminded Coach that St. Mary's had made it to the national championship game. But you know, I was around a lot of the athletes at a small school. And once I got the opportunity to cover sports, I really, really wanted to make sure that the athletes at Bellevue, then Bellevue College, got their just due. And so I made it my mission that we were going to cover Bellevue College the best we could. So we were at games and we were at other events. And on top of it, a lot of the players back then were from the metro area. So these were kids who their parents were going to see these stories, their friends were going to see their stories, their high school coaches were going to see the stories, and I thought that was just really, really important for to get that kind of recognition basically playing at home. And then as the years moved on, Coach would ask me to MC the Athlete of the Year banquet, other events. He even let me speak at his retirement. That was fun. That was at Casio's. That was a good time that night. I think 3 other people spoke. No, 5 people showed up. 3 people spoke. 2 of them were wanting to know when it was over. And then, of course, we did the cable show with Coach Eisner. That was a lot of fun. Coach Eisner knew a lot about basketball. But before I forget, I want to introduce some people who are with me tonight. I'm glad that they could make it. My wife, Kathy, is here. My daughter, Stephanie, and her husband, Frank. My other daughter, she works for Disney Cruise Lines, and she's somewhere in the Baltic tonight. Somewhere, I think, between St. Petersburg and Estonia. Eugene Curtin and Eric Taylor, 2 longtime Bellevue leader people, and more importantly, good friends. And my sister, Regina, is here. Tim Stutheit has the speech record of 38 minutes. So I'm going to see how close we can come to that. There are 3 things that are most important to me. It's faith, family, and friends. And a long, long time ago, Coach became a friend, and he made me feel part of the Bruin family, and along with Gloria. And then over the years, Joe Forel, Ed Lahotek, a lot of the coaches over the years, they really made me feel part of this. And for that, I am forever grateful. Thank you, Coach, and thank you, Gloria. I want to congratulate Gunnar and Jason and Kia and Mike on a very well-deserved honor. I'm honored that I can go in with this class, and I'm very, very humbled to receive this award tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Our second honoree this evening is Jason Jarvis. Jason, please stand. Jason enters the Hall of Fame after a brilliant baseball career. Like me, I'm sure the first time you put on a baseball uniform in Little League, you felt right at home on a baseball diamond, right? He parlayed that into a great career, a 2-year career here at Bellevue. He was named the first team all-district squad both years. In 1993, he had an incredible 0.95 earned run average. Coach Monlux, you could probably use another arm like that on your staff, right? In 1994, he was part of a Bellevue team that won over 80% of its game and really set the tone for the program's success in later years. After his time at Bellevue, he was drafted by the New York Yankees. Yay! Hey, anybody catch the score of the Yankees-Red Sox game this afternoon, Trish? Jason spent 4 years pitching in the minor leagues for both the Yankees and the Blue Jay organization. Ask him about David Cohn someday. He finished with a winning record in his minor league career at 30-28. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, please direct your attention to the video board as we learn more about Jason Jarvis.
Jason Jarvis, baseball, 1993-1994. Jason Jarvis was a 2-year member of the baseball team, competing on the 1993 and 1994 squads. He led the Bruins to a 70-35 record as a student athlete and helped set the table for the 1995 national championship run. While a member of the baseball team, he was twice named a first-team All-District 11 selection. During the 1994 campaign, he helped the Bruins post a 48-11 record, the first time that Bellevue won over 80% of their games in a single season. That team reached the NAIA Region 3 tournament, where the Bruins ultimately fell to eventual World Series runner-up Southeastern Oklahoma State. After the conclusion of his Bellevue career, Jarvis was selected in the 13th round of the 1994 amateur draft by the New York Yankees. Jarvis went on to play 4 seasons of minor league baseball, pitching in the New York Yankees and Toronto Blue Jays organizations. Jason currently lives in Gilbert, Arizona with his wife, Jennifer. They have 2 children, Braden and Tori. He is the Director of Land Development at Meritage Homes.
I played baseball at Bellevue with Jason from '92 to '94. Met him in the fall of '92, and then he was drafted and left me. One thing about Jason, he wasn't just a pitcher. I don't know if you knew that. He actually was a really good athlete. He was a pinch runner for us a lot of times, or courtesy runner, and he played some outfield. So he tried to show off a little bit in the fall with his hitting skills. I call them skills, very very lightly placed there. But he was a very good athlete. Pitching wise, he was one of the best. So I had the privilege. I think I caught one no-hitter from him. But yeah, hard. You know, he was a stringly guy. He was kind of skinny. Now he's not. But just had a rubber arm. Could pitch almost every day. And just had some nasty stuff.
So we went down to Peru, and football practice was getting out, and their entire football team picked up couches and lifted them down the foul lines, and basically just sat behind our dugout and threw whiskey bottles at us and called us names for 2.5 hours. And that game, I can't remember how it started, but I do remember they had a catcher named Matt Gruey, who was actually really good. And he had rounded third, and Nick DeLuca got tied up with him somehow, and we had, both benches cleared, and so there was a nice little brawl. And we had about had enough of Gruey popping off, and for every batter he was lipping with, and he just wasn't really liked on our team. And JJ was getting ready to go back out, and I think we were up 9 or 10-1. And Jason said, "Watch this," and he put a fastball in between that guy's shoulder blades that I can still hear in my head today.
So before every game that he was going to pitch, he and I would go to the Runza right across the street. Well, Runza had fruit punch. So Jason and I were college kids, so we didn't have a lot of cash. So we just went in there and got fruit punch and just talk. And usually we'd talk about the game and kind of see how we were going to throw people, whatever it might have been. So it kind of turned into, one day Jason was pretty fair-skinned, so he would get fruit punch mustaches all the time. So then I started doing it. So we would actually just soak our upper lip in fruit punch for whatever it took to get the brightest fruit punch mustache we could possibly get. And then you can imagine a guy's throwing mid-90s, low 90s, nasty slider. And he's looking at the batter with his fruit punch mustache, and it was pretty funny.
But the reason why Jason deserves this honor as much or more than anyone is not only because he is a great guy, a true friend, a great teammate, somebody that will go to bat for you. Whether it's in your personal life and you're having a hard time, he'll listen to you yammer on. He'll come pick you up, if you need a ride. He's just that guy. But not only is he such a great guy, but he was also so talented. And I have no doubt right now that the guy could probably go out and walk out on a mountain and probably push 90 miles an hour right now. So he really was back then and is now just a perfect teammate.
Easier with text messaging and phone, cell phones. I'm not sure if there's ever been a holiday or birthday or anniversary that he hasn't contacted me, and I think probably my friends, all around. So, just a good teammate, good person, good teammate. So you kind of put on that level. Next thing would be obviously his playing skills. I mean, he was one in a million. He really one of the things I was kind of trying to think about was he and Derek Hope kind of paved the way for a lot of. And I don't want to seclude him into just Utah players, but just that whole mentality and Brandon Elgren's and Nick DeLuca's and you kind of keep on going down the line. They kind of paved the way for those guys, and ultimately, kind of redone or remade who Bellevue was and contributed to that national championship. So I think there's so many different things that he's done. Academically, the guy was a genius, very smart. He was an academic All-American, I think, a couple years. So I just think there's so many different levels that Jason contributed to this team and to this university. College, actually, it was Bellevue College when we were here. And I'm just always very proud of him.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jason Jarvis.
Man, I didn't think I'd be nervous, but after that, I don't know who this guy is. First of all, I would like to thank Lou and Ron, who's watching his own son compete in the Legion Championship tonight, for not completely slamming me the entire video, but I may have been skinny and fair-skinned, but I've made up for that now because I live in Arizona and I sunburn all the time and I'm fat, so it's a lot more fun. First of all, I'd like to thank the school, the university administration. I started writing down names, and then I figured maybe I shouldn't name it because I'm going to forget somebody and I'm going to feel really bad. But to put on an event like this is great, and it's so much appreciated and brings back a lot of memories, other than I don't remember the campus at all. Because it's completely changed. The only thing that's the same about this campus from when I was here is that it's located at the same spot. It's done a marvelous job. The buildings are great. I would love to be back here and live a second life. And if I had any eligibility left, I'd ask Mosser if he could put in a good word for me. But would like to thank all the administration, the university, Ed Lahotak, Doreen and Trish, because I had the most contact with them and sending everything out. And then, Coach Mosser and his lovely wife. It's neat because he used to only throw out scowls and sarcastic comments, and now he's giving out money. So I just find that so ironic. But when you think of Jerry Mosser, he is Bellevue. I mean, there's no doubt about it. So I'd like to thank them as well. The other inductees, Gunnar, I wish we had Facebook and social media back then because I didn't get a chance to watch you play a lot, but I've read about you. Well-deserved. Congratulations. Coach Liverwurst, where are you? Livergood? You know, Mike taught me a lot because he was the trainer when I was here. He was just getting going, and you'd walk in, and a couple times I'd be a little sore and show him where it was at, and he'd just dig his thumb right into there and say, does that hurt? And I'd, yes, and then I never actually spent any more time in the training room because it wasn't worth it. So I don't think he sees that many athletes. He'll tell you because they're healthy, but it's really because we don't want to go through the pain and suffering that he puts us through. So congratulations, Mike. Very well deserved, very well deserved. Mr. Petak, I was looking for him. It's different when I'm over here. Trying to find you. You know, you covered us. You covered a lot of our events, a lot of our baseball games. Said a lot of nice things about our team. Managed to mention me in a few. You know, thank you for your time here because you've been a lifer. So congratulations to you as well. And how cool is it to go in with your sister? Right? How many people get to do that? So unfortunately, I was still living my dream and trying to do that. I didn't get a chance to watch her play a whole lot, and our beta player and VHS player broke, so I can't see any of the old highlight videos we tried to do anymore. But, you know, what a great honor. Congratulations to you, sis. Had a lot of family and friends who were able to make it out. I'll let Kia introduce her family, but, you know, I have my wife and my daughter were able to make it out. My sister and brother-in-law, Boosh made it out, Sweet Lou, you know, those guys coming out. Thank you for making the time and the effort being away from your families. I want to talk about a couple stories. You know, I'll just have to refer to him as Coach. But when I first talked to Coach before I was coming out here, he was quite the recruiter. I played my freshman year at the University of Utah. Wasn't a great, I did fine, but wasn't real thrilled with the way the program was going and the atmosphere with it. And I got a hold of Coach and an opportunity there, and man, I think I was sold after about a 45-minute conversation. I'd never been east of probably Grand Junction. And so it wasn't a whole lot there wasn't recruiting trips, there wasn't a lot of video you could find. So he took a chance on me, I took a chance on coming out here. And I remember I came out with Derek Hope. We were both coming out from Utah, and we packed up the Ford Tempo. Between the two of us, we had so much stuff, we actually had to take the back seat out of the car to give us that extra 10 inches of room so we could get the rest of our stuff out here. There was no Siri, no Google, no GPS. We grabbed the atlas, the old paper atlas. We mapped our route, tried to figure out where we could get gas, and we headed out on our 772 miles or 900, I can't remember what it is, jaunt out here. We left in the morning, so we got out here at night. We came down Cornhusker Road. We made the right on Galvin Parkway. We went all the way up to the 370. Thought, well, we must have missed the school. So we came back down. We came back down Galvin. There used to be a Food for Less over here. We hit the Food for Less. The numbers kept going up. We're like, well, let's turn back around. So we came back around. We must have done that 2 or 3 times looking for this big university. You know, I'd come from a pretty big place, and there it was. Finally, I saw a little monument on the corner, and we made the right, and the rest, I guess, is history. But so it's so great to see what it's become these days. Some of my baseball highlights, man, I had so many, but you know, I always had a pretty decent arm. I just wanted to throw every day. I didn't care if it hurt or not. I just wanted to be the guy on the field. I love to compete. I kind of played with a chip on my shoulder because I probably only was 130 pounds, so nobody was afraid of me. But, you know, you're only as good as your backstops. And I had an opportunity to talk to Ron Weiss, caught me for quite a little bit, and he was just such a good teammate, just a backstop. You know, he had a pan for a glove, so he didn't catch them all, but he had a great arm and he could hit. And just all around, just great guy. You know, Brandon Elgren is another guy. He's fighting a lot of health issues right now. God bless him. Couldn't make it out. And Andy Gonzalez, who was here in '93. Funny story about that. So Andy, we were down at Texas Kingsville, very, very south tip of Texas, and they didn't actually give signs. They just spoke in Spanish because, you know, we're a bunch of white guys from the north. So they looked at it, and we had a guy white guy who spoke fluent Spanish, Derek. And so one of the coaches, or one of the players, leans over because Andy Gonzalez, who was as white as any of us, was catching. He says, "Coach, I think we need to mix up our signs. I think the catcher's picking them up." And no, it was the whitest guy on our team. So it was. We always teased Andy about that, how he was the whitest Latino we ever played with. I had the chance in '93 to throw 26 1/3 scoreless innings is one I remember. Threw 3 straight shutouts and a couple innings thereafter, heading right into the regionals. Beat national champion St. Francis, and being a part of the team that set the team strikeout record as well as setting it personally was great. And I held that for a whole year until Marce Wilson broke it the next year. So that was great. In '94, I had the opportunity to be drafted by the Yankees. And it kind of helped break the stigma that you can't move on, from a small school, that you won't get the shot. And definitely did, and it wouldn't have been if I hadn't have been here with a lot of the exposure that I was able to get. So it was a great opportunity after playing for a small school. And of course, later being traded for David Cone, which was kind of the ESPN moment. I think it's more so for Cone than for me. Because every year they bring it up as the worst trade in baseball history. It just passed. I had about a dozen friends text me the article saying, "Hey, you're still there." So, at least trying to be relevant. In May 1995, a young man left and went water skiing with his friends and never made it back home. And that young man was my little brother. And I was playing an A-ball at the time, and I got a phone call that pretty well changed my life overnight. And, you're probably going, "Man, why does he bring that up? What does that have to do with Bellevue?" Because I had already left. And if you remember what was going on with Bellevue at the time, 1995, the Cardiac Bruins started their run. And that was right after my brother had passed. So I actually had left the team and was home while we were trying to sort through that. And it was a hard time. And I bring it up because of what Bellevue meant to us and our family, because this was before Facebook and social media and texting and cell phones and all those kind of things. And so I had so many teammates reach out, obviously give their thanks, but also it gave us something to smile about because, man, those guys went on a run. I mean, they really went on a run, and I could have been on that team had I not signed, and they didn't need me because they killed it. And each day, you're dealing with what you're dealing with, but getting those updates and getting those phone calls, it kind of gave that smile. And I know my family will be mad at me for bringing it up because they're going to cry. But that's the kind of family that we had out here at Bellevue. And that's why these guys are here today. And a lot of those guys on that team probably don't remember that. But to me, it was, sorry. It was a great time being able to follow my brothers and see what they did out on that field and to bring such a great opportunity to the university because, what a run they had and making national headlines and ESPN and going through that and kind of help cement what was already growing here and put it on the map. And I wasn't on the team, but man, was I a big fan. The Cardiac Bruins were what college sports and baseball were all about. They just didn't quit. They just kept playing, and as long as they had an out left, they had a shot. And so, they really never say die. And I just want to congratulate them as well. I know they're already in here being inducted last year, but that was a special story for me in my life. As I'm looking grayer and older, distinguished, whatever we call it, it becomes less and less about things, and it becomes more about the memories and the journeys. And so I kind of started making a list of things that I remembered over the last couple weeks about Bellevue. I remember walking into campus and sitting in the gym at our first team meeting, and man, did we have a rough-looking bunch of characters. I thought maybe, I just hope none of them wanted to pick a fight with me because I think I was scared a little bit, but ended up being such a great bunch of guys. The blue oversized Bellevue College 12-passenger vans. How can you not appreciate driving those? I remember Coach spitting everywhere on us when he was mad, when he would chew us out. I remember wind chills and being introduced to the frostbite report on the radio about walking to class and how quick my skin could turn to frostbite if it wasn't covered. That was neat. Andy introduced me to Sega and NCAA college football and PGA golf because we didn't go on a road trip without it. I also remember Andy and Greg Hope. They were the announcers for Bellevue, but we didn't really have anywhere for them to announce. So since my parents were so far away, they would announce the games into a tape recorder, and we are still trying to find that to this day. And Andy was thinking about getting into broadcasting, and man, the commercials he came up with to kill the time can't all be repeated, but they were great. I remember sneaking out by the pool on the spring trip because we were white and we couldn't go to Texas without coming back with at least a sunburn. I remember that straight shot from Texas Pan America, now UTRGV, back to Bellevue when we were done, 21 hours in the said 12-passenger vans. I remember dancing Dan Bushka at the Lancer games. For any of you who attended those, it's a celebrity right here. The man embarrassed himself better than anybody I'd ever seen and kind of became a local legend. I remember my roommate, Marce Wilson, who was on that 95 championship team, not wanting to go out with us to the movie and coming home and watching him wash his pennies in the sink. I remember Ron Weiss never wearing sleeves. And he also mentioned our glorious Runza fruit punch mustaches. I remember our super fans, Lloyd Lurvey and Judd Patton. I remember Mr. and Mrs. Ralston. I'm so glad she was here tonight, showing up at all the games and just sitting in the stands and just smiling and cheering us on. I remember Danny Rubin, and he had this old, I think it was from the 1800s baseball glove that he tied to his belt, and he took with him to all the games. I never saw him put it on his hand, but he had it with him on his belt. I remember practicing in the Exarban parking lot when it snowed and taking the portable mound out, and if you weren't pitching that day, then you were on car patrol because there'd be cars in the parking lot that we had to protect the balls from hitting. So, and then I remember playing my last college game in the Oklahoma Regional, and we lost a devastating, just heartbreaking game, one-run game. Had runners on in the last inning, and we didn't make it, and our World Series dream just came to an end. And I remember hugging my teammates, and we all sat on the field crying, and I still to this day remember how that felt and what a bond we have. Now it's great watching all these teammates try to be responsible adults. So many of them are coaching travel ball and high school programs and even college coaches. I love watching their kids try to chase the dreams and go through and play and watch them try to pay it back from what they had. I had a daughter who cheered. I have a son who wrestled and competes in bodybuilding. I have another son who's currently trying to chase the baseball dream in college and hopefully beyond. And I can tell you it's more fun watching them compete than I ever had on the field. But I can also tell you it's way more nerve-wracking. I've never been more nervous than watching my sons or daughters get ready for a big competition or a game, and I'm a wreck. I mean, I had the chance to throw in front of 10,000 people, and it was just no big thing. I show up to a high school varsity game, and I can't sit still. And so it's such a great thing to watch all these kids move on and try it. Some of my best friends to this day, I had the privilege of meeting here while I was on campus. Their families took me in like one of their own, Ron, Big Chief, and Rita, Andy Lewis and his parents, the Hopes, LaRon and Laurie, Greg Hope's parents, Mama Carter, they all would bring us over for Sunday dinners who were out of town, and I very much appreciate that. To my mom and dad, thank you for always believing I would make it. And providing me with all the opportunities to play and being my biggest fans. You can hear my mom's voice from anywhere. And I remember one time in high school, they asked me what I wanted to do as we're trying to plan out our lives. I said, well, I'm going to go to school and play baseball. And then I want to try to play professionally. And the guidance counselor with my parents there said, well, maybe you ought to think about another path, just, you know. And that didn't go over well in my house. So they kind of let the guidance counselor have it, and I think they were right. I'd had a pretty good run. To my kids, my daughter who is here, and my 2 sons who couldn't make it, you know, thank you for choosing me to be your dad. You listened and you learned, and you guys have grown up into great adults, and I just couldn't be more proud. You're some of my best friends, and I accomplished a lot before you guys were born, and that's a lot about what tonight is about. But I have no greater accomplishment than watching you guys grow up. So I love you. To my smoking hot wife, 6 years ago, you took a chance on the line when I told you that I was kind of a big deal, and you actually went out with me, and you've been a beacon of light ever since. I'm blessed. I'm blessed with more than a man should have, and that's because of you and everything. I owe it to you. So thank you very much. If I could map a woman out and order one online, that would be you. And I want to say thank you. It's a great honor. I appreciate it. I tried to keep it short. I don't even know how long it was because ideas kept coming in, but I very much appreciate it, and thank you.
Thank you, Jason. Our next Hall of Fame inductee is definitely the prettiest of the Jarvis family members being inducted tonight. Sorry, Jason. Please welcome Kia Jarvis Walton. Kia was an outstanding 6-position player on the volleyball court and also an outstanding student in the classroom. She earned all-conference and all-region honors during her 2-year career at Bellevue, and her name is still prominent in the volleyball record books. She's still listed in the top 5 in 7 different volleyball categories, including number 1 in hitting percentage at .340. That's quite the accomplishment, right, Trish? Kia was both an MCAC Scholar Athlete and an NAIA Scholar Athlete, and she was named the Bellevue University Female Athlete of the Year in 1997. Once again, we ask that you please turn your attention to the video board as we find out more about Kia Jarvis Walton.
Kia Jarvis Walton, volleyball, 1996-1997. Kia Jarvis Walton played 2 seasons of volleyball at Bellevue, where she earned numerous athletic and academic accolades. She was a 2-time All-MCAC selection, earning second-team honors in 1996 and first-team honors in 1997. As well as being named to the 1997 AVCA All-Region Team. Academically, she was a 2-time MCAC Scholar Athlete and a 1997 recipient of the Daktronics NAIA Scholar Athlete Award. Also, in 1997, Jarvis Walton was named the Bellevue University Female Athlete of the Year. Despite playing just 2 seasons at BU, she ranks 12th all-time with 1,221 career kills and is the all-time leader in hitting percentage with a career average of .340. She also accumulated 833 digs and 412 blocks in her career. Jarvis Walton still ranks in the top 5 of single-season leaders in 7 categories. Her 665 kills in 1997 remain the single-season standard, and her 556 kills in 1996 still rank 5th. Her blocks total of 210 in 1997 and 202 in 1996 rank 2nd and 3rd respectively, while her solo block totals of 68 in 1996 and 66 in 1997 are good for 3rd and 4th. With 144 block assists in 1997, she ranks 3rd on the single-season leaderboard. Kia resides in Farmington, Utah with her husband Joe and their children Max, Allie, and Ava. She received her degree in psychology from BU and is currently working as a hairstylist.
I had the privilege of coaching Kia for the first 2 years of my career here at Bellevue. She was an amazing leader. She did that through very high character, a consistent work ethic, and an amazing attitude. Kia was the kind of athlete that every coach needs in a program. She was an extension of my program vision to the younger athletes, and she was a caring teammate to them as well.
I know Kia because I played volleyball with her in 1996 and 1997, our junior and senior years, and we were both co-captains our senior year together.
I heard Kia was joining our team, and I knew her brother because I ran with all of the 95 Bellevue Bruins that won the national championship for baseball. So I kind of knew of her family, so we went out to check her out and to meet her prior to her coming in. And when I met her, she was hilarious, and I knew we would be friends.
Kia might not have been the most athletic middle blocker on the floor. She might, I can assure you she was not the most graceful. But what I can tell you is that Kia was going to beat you, and she was going to outthink you. She was certainly going to outwork you. And still, to my recollection, I can't explain exactly how Kia got things done, but I can assure you that she did get things done, and at a pretty high level.
I had a pretty unique experience in that I graduated and then became an assistant coach and started my coaching career while she was having her senior year, and we were best friends leading up to that point, so I had to change our relationship. But I'll never forget the practice where we were prepping, I think, for College of St. Mary, which is hilarious because Trish is the coach at Bellevue and is doing a fantastic job. But she was on the team that we were prepping for, so we were talking about the tips to the corners that their middles would throw, and we were in a drill where Joel was being the middle. I was the left side in the scout team, so that means I was Trish, and he was tipping to the corner and we weren't getting it. So she got herself in there and she's like, he's tipping right here. And then so on the very next ball, he tipped the opposite direction as they all went to that corner. And we were just trying to get them fired up so we could be ready to have a great match, and we did have a good match. So
I am certain Kia will most likely have some hyperbolized stories of her playing days, especially when it comes to my coaching. I'm sure she will say that I was tough and that I was particularly hard on her personally. And probably most of those stories would be true. I was tough, and I was hard on Kia, probably a little too hard.
it wasn't necessarily an easy journey for Kia, because I remember being between the double glass doors on the back side of the gym and hearing the news that her brother had passed away. And Kia showed me how to, in the midst of horrible circumstances, choose life and peace and joy even. That while you go through hard things, you still get to choose how you live every single day. And I'll never forget that.
I think Kia is deserving of being inducted into the Hall of Fame because of pretty much the whole person concept of who Kia is. You can look at stats, you can look at numbers. She succeeded definitely in that area. She could spike a ball on the other side of the net into somebody's face any day. However, I feel that she's deserving of this also because of her integrity. One thing that I would like to highlight about Kia is her loyalty to the program. I feel that that is huge in any athlete, to take the coach's vision, to take the vision of the team, and to instill that in all the players at every level. And Kia could do that undoubtedly just by her actions. I think she's so deserving of this, and Kia, congratulations. It couldn't have gone to a better person. So go get 'em, girl.
I get a little emotional trying to figure out how to say congratulations, because it was a pretty special time in life. just finishing up college volleyball and having the chance to play with you and to coach you. Joel and I still discuss some of our best athletes that have led our teams, and your name always comes up in that conversation as a woman who worked hard every day in the gym and gave her very best, but also was loyal to her staff and had great integrity and ethics. So congratulations on the Hall of Fame. It is a well-deserved honor, and I love you.
Gunnar Brown, men's basketball.
Ladies and
1996
gentlemen,
to
please
2000.
welcome to the Hall of Fame, Kia Jarvis Walton.
Thank you. I wasn't expecting all of that, but this is so cool. I appreciate you all being here. Honestly, one of the coolest events of my life, short of being married and having my children. But this is two things first. It is true about my brother. We do not know how he got his wife. He scored. I don't know how she agreed to go out with him. We love her. So yes, she just got an overload with our family. And I honestly can't think of anything cooler than having this be with my brother. He's the reason I came to Bellevue. I had never heard of it, and I thought, what the heck? Here I come. They're going to pay for my school. I'll come. So I just think that's awesome. And honestly, it's been a family joke for years. Joke to myself. Because Jason has already been in there. Baseball had their own Hall of Fame. And so we came out several years ago for that, and I kept saying, are you sure did they lose my phone number? Are you sure they didn't mean to call me? Joking, not thinking this would ever happen. So what a fun surprise. I am truly honored. I think it's so cool. My whole volleyball career took place long before I ever met my husband, so they just have to hear these stories and believe me. My kids still are undecided if I'm athletic at all. And I am not willing to show them or try because I don't want to hurt myself. I'm too old for that. But I do have, I'm going to keep this really short. Speaking in front of people is not my specialty. And in all honesty, I was just going to get up here and wing it for a couple of minutes. Then I'm talking to my brother, and he's got 4 pages of speech notes. So I'm panicking last night, so I tried to organize my thoughts. But I really do just want to be short. And like they introduced my family on the video, I met my husband after I had graduated. We're both from Utah. And I've got 3 beautiful children that appear to be more athletic than I was. But it is wonderful. And my parents, of course, who will make the journey anywhere we are for their children. They're the best supporters of all. Just make sure I don't speak crazy. But I do have a few people to thank, and I'm like Jason, I'm afraid if I start, I will miss people, but I just mentioned this, probably number one are my parents. They 100% supportive, wherever we wanted to go, whatever we want to do, for sure why I'm where I am today. They would get out here as often as they can. It's a fairly long road trip, longer than I remember, and we'll be reminded again tomorrow morning. We'll just not think of that yet. And Coach McCartney, I had done everything to come to Bellevue. You know, this is before phones and stuff, everything through email. Well, cell phones, sorry, not phones. My dad over there snickering. Cell phones, we did everything through email. So I never talked to anyone or met anyone. We just did everything through email. I'm coming, this is the date you need to be here. Anyways, I meet Coach McCartney on the first day of practice. And he is no joke. He is tough and he is hard, but truly, he made me the player that I am. He knew how to coach me. He knew how to get out of me what he needed. I definitely will attribute some of my talents to him. And his wife, of course, Annie, who was my great friend and teammate. So funny story about Joel. I have this tendency I like to become friends with most people I meet. So even though Joel was my friend, my coach, I thought he was my friend too. And I really respected him. So I'm walking across campus and I see Joel over there. I yell his name, Joel! Joel! He gave me a very stern wave. Oh man, he called me in his office that day. You do not yell Joel across the campus. I'm your coach. That was news to me. I will never forget. I'm like, I am so sorry. You're my friend. So, Coach McCartney. So we cleared that up right away. And it's been fun corresponding with Trish. She played for College of St. Mary's the same year I did, so very much remember playing her. Quite the rivalry. They won some, we won some, so fun to hear that she's the coach. And I was here at Bellevue 96 to 98, so just those 2 years. I'd come from a junior college in Utah. So Coach Mosser was here when I was here. We did become friends, right? I think he admitted I got half a vote too. It's going to be to a full by the end of the night. Coach Mosser was here. Okay, so between half and half, we're a full as a family. Thank you. So love Coach Mosser. Mike Livergood, I will credit him with keeping my limbs together. Lots of ice and rehab, but no surgeries. We did good. So loved my time here. I graduated, got my degree, and I just tell anyone if I can graduate, anyone can. School was not my specialty. We made it through, and as crazy as it sounds, I moved home and I went to beauty school. I really wanted to do hair. So you can imagine how my psychology degree and doing hair go together. It's awesome. So I do currently do hair today. It is so fun. I really love it. I will admit I don't do much with volleyball. I'm just going to be retired and live in the glory that you guys heard of. Just remember that. But I really do feel honored. What a fun thing to drag my family to a place they've never been and support me. And I want to thank Bellevue for offering me a scholarship and helping me get my degree and having a wonderful experience here. I'm really grateful. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kia. Next up on our Hall of Fame inductee list is Gunnar Brown. Gunnar, please stand. Gunnar is the most appropriately named person on our list tonight, as he was quite the gunner on the basketball court. He never met a shot he didn't like, and he could make most of them as well. Almost 2 decades after graduating, Gunnar is still the Bruins' career leader in three-point baskets made with over 415 to be exact, and the leader in free throw shooting percentage, 86.2%. How's that for some clutch shooting? He bookended his 4-year Bellevue career as being named the Conference Freshman of the Year, and then ended it as the 2000 Bellevue Male Athlete of the Year with numerous honors in between. Once again, time to turn your attention to the video board as we learn more about Gunnar Brown.
Gunnar Brown, men's basketball, 1996 to 2000. Gunnar Brown was a 4-year member of the Bellevue men's basketball team and a consistent award winner for his basketball prowess. After earning MCAC Freshman of the Year honors during the 1996-97 season, he followed up by being named a back-to-back first-team All-MCAC and honorable mention All-American in 1997, 1998, and also in 1998-99. His career culminated with him earning honorable mention All-MCAC accolades and the Bellevue University Athlete of the Year Award in 1999-2000. Nearly 20 years after wrapping up his BU career, he remains the Bruins' all-time leader in both three-point field goals made and free throw percentage. Brown ranks 3rd all-time among Bellevue leaders with 1,782 points for a career scoring average of 14.7 points per game. Additionally, he is one of just 13 Bellevue players to accumulate 100 career steals and ranks among the program leaders in field goals made, games played, and free throws made. Brown ranks both first and second in most three-point field goals made in a season, draining 129 during the 97-98 season and following that up with 125 more during the 98-99 campaign. Brown currently lives in Papillion, Nebraska with his wife Kirsten and their children Nolan, Briley, and Alexis. He received his degree in communications from BU and is currently a senior account executive.
I first met, I guess I saw Gunnar play basketball at the Catholic school, and that's where I first saw him, and I didn't know we were recruiting him at that time, but he ended up coming to Bellevue, and he could be possibly the best basketball shooter that we've ever had at Bellevue University. And we have a number of good shooters going down the list, but Gunnar was one of the best outside shooters I've ever seen. We were playing in the national tournament in Nampa, Idaho, and we were playing against a team that was pretty tough, and they were kind of taking care of us, and all of a sudden Gunnar decides to take it on himself and ended up scoring about 28 to 30 points, and all from the outside. So he was probably, at his size, they couldn't stop him, and he probably could have played Division II or even in small Division I basketball. He was that good. Extremely good passer, quickness was good, outside shooting was good. So I think he deserves the Hall of Fame because of his talent and what he did for Bellevue University.
Well, I know Gunnar he is my older brother by 3 years. Well, Gunnar's career here at Bellevue University was pretty amazing. It was fun to come and be able to watch him as a fan for 3 years before I actually was able to play with him. And it was kind of almost like watching some guy just bob and weave through a bunch of guys, because, I mean, he was a shooter, so he was always running around picks, and he could just light it up. It was just fun to watch this guy. My brother and I would go back and forth between Indiana and Omaha. My parents were divorced, so my father got us for a few weeks in the summertime, and my brother and I would always go back there and play basketball. My dad was a Hall of Famer at Chadron State College, so basketball just ran in the blood. And one of the big things for us was always playing pickup basketball games with my father. And there was one specific year when Gunnar was 16, I was 13, and there was a pickup ball game between my dad and my brother, and they kept me out of this one. And my brother always got beat leading up to this point from my father at these pickup games. Gunnar finally beat him one summer, and my dad took the basketball, kicked it over our house, and next thing I know, there's this whole new confidence with Gunnar when it came to basketball. He just had it in his head, like this switch just flipped, and he just knew that he was good enough to play with anybody after he beat my father. And ever since then, he would walk into the gym, and I mean, that was his range on the court. I mean, he could hit it from anywhere. Well, I think Gunnar is deserving of this honor here to be inducted to the Hall of Fame at Bellevue University, because his stats over 4 years, his performance over 4 years, they just speak for themselves. To still have the most three-pointers made at this university, and it to be standing now for 20 years is amazing. I mean, because there's been a lot of good shooters that have come through those doors to play for Bellevue, and for his numbers to still hold up against all those guys, I mean, it's kind of shocking, amazing. It's awesome. Well, there was a conference game when we were playing. I think it was the Ozarks, and hopefully it's not on video because I was on the bench at the time, and it was a game where I think he was like 8 for 12 or 8 for 13 and three-pointers. Well, I'm on the bench, and we're just sitting there cheering him on, and he hits a shot on our end, right in the corner, comes by me and just slaps me on my face as he's running back down and just gives me a good look, just winks at me, and, you know, he knew. He was just like, he was very confident when he was here at Bellevue, which he should be. I just want him to keep being an awesome father, husband, son, brother, friend to all, and just step his golf game up a little bit, because that's about one thing I could get him in on.
Please welcome to the Bellevue Athletics Hall of Fame, Gunnar Brown.
All right, well, I am a little bit of a talker. And before I get started with the thank yous and, kind of going into a few of the memories, I got some housekeeping to take care of. So, sophomore year, and my brother nailed it. Gunnar, keep your confidence up. Some switch flipped, whatever it was. And I remember going into Jerry's office after my freshman year, and I'm like, Jerry, I'm a freshman of the year in the conference. Pockets feel a little thin. I could really use a new car. And Coach just looks at me and he's like, okay. So at the awards banquet that year, gets up, gives his speech, and he's a teddy bear. I realize that now. Back then, yeah, he's tough. So Coach, I'm giving you back something you gave to me 20 years ago. Got a different paint job. Car. I did deserve a car. Coach, thank you. There's so many people in the room, and this could go on all night. And, I'm not going to go there, but I do have someone else in the room I want to point out, and it's Coach Brett Richards. Coach, could you stand up? And by far, I got close to him quick, and he was there my freshman, sophomore year, and then, on to bigger and better things. But a little story I think sum it up was I remember the first day on campus, and we're going to the, I think Brent Village Apartments, and Coach meets us up there, and he's getting us settled in, and my roommate's from Pocatello. No, not Pocatello. He's from somewhere in northern Illinois, and his name's Luke Italis. And I remember Coach coming up there and puts his arm around me, and he's like, Brown. I'm like, yeah. He's like, man, I worked hard on this one. This guy's the future of Bellevue basketball. You take care of this kid. I got you with him for a reason. And I'm like, shit, I'm worse than most, And I just remember thinking to myself, there's always been a reason, and I play the same thing as Jason. You had a little chip on your shoulder. Maybe it was being 5'10". Maybe even today when I tell people I played, college athletics. Oh, baseball. Yeah, I played baseball. Yeah. I don't even get into the story anymore. So, Coach, I mean that with the utmost respect. That day, that moment has stuck with me ever since, and I just wasn't going to let that be the situation. Luke was a great guy. Him and Jacobson, they did a phenomenal job, but I knew right then I had something to prove. Mom, this is really your award. And if you want to raise your hand. Yeah, my mom. And I know all of us can attest to this. So, none of us, you want to go fast, go alone. You want to go far, you go together type thing. And as my brother mentioned, parents divorced pretty early. My mom, gave us every opportunity to excel. And she worked the 3 jobs, and she put us through school. And, she got us to the practices. And I'm a parent now, and, man, it's not easy. And I can't imagine being a single parent with 2 kids and trying to give them every opportunity that, you want your kids to have.
athletic trainer.
Yeah, no, Trish, nice try. Trish, by the way, great job on this. You crushed it. Doreen, the whole team, you guys are amazing. But Mom, this is yours. None of this happens without you. Okay, I had a decent jumper and, I worked hard and this and that, but I don't have those opportunities without you. My brother Clint pushed me all the time, and we'll talk golf a little bit later, but, in the end, Bellevue University, the board, getting almost every vote except for one, it means so much. As an athlete, people, they see the when you have the uniform out and you come running out, or they see the scoreboard. They're clapping, they're cheering. But what you don't see is the 5 a.m.s, the two-a-days, the lifting, the mental workout, the trying to keep above a 2.5 GPA. And I didn't have it as easy as a lot of students. I actually had to work a little bit on the academics, and it was all those times. It's all the things that you don't see that allows you to stand somewhere like here today. And I'm absolutely honored. I look forward to building this relationship that I have with the university moving forward. There's so many people that showed up tonight. The North Shore family, you guys rock. I have friends and family come in from Minneapolis. They're amazing people. I have all my mom's side of the family sitting back there. My in-laws came up from Clarinda, Iowa. It's crazy that 20 years later, people will still pay $50. I know. Guys, again, short and sweet. Thank you so much. And Coach, she drives like a beaut. Let me tell you.
A good trade, a car for a trophy. Thank you, Gunnar. Congratulations. The final one of our quintet of honorees this evening is a familiar face. You've heard his name mentioned several times by some of our other honorees. Please stand, Mike Livergood. Mike has been the head athletic trainer and instructor at Bellevue University for over a quarter century. He has taken care of injuries from blisters to blown-out knees. I think Mike is most proud, however, of his work in preventing injuries from ever happening in the first place. So for all those years of efforts, thank you, Mike, on behalf of all the student athletes who have been under your care and the care of your staff. His work has been recognized nationally on the conference, regional, and national level for the NAIA and by his fellow athletic trainers as well. In addition to his work at Bellevue University, he also works as an associate athletic director for the Justin Sports program that deals with rodeo athletes. So we've got rodeo, we've got basketball, we've got volleyball, we've got baseball, we've got a little bit of everything. So yeehaw to Mike Livergood. Please turn your attention once again to the video boards as we learn more about Mike Livergood.
Mike Livergood, athletic trainer from 1993 to present. Livergood has been the Bruins head athletic trainer for 26 years after arriving on the BU campus in 1993 and teaches classes within the Health and Performance program at Bellevue. He has earned a pair of Athletic Trainer of the Year awards at the NAIA level. He was named the 2008 NAIA Athletic Trainer of the Year and was recognized by the National Athletic Trainers Association as the NAIA Athletic Trainer of the Year for the 2015-2016 season. More recently, Livergood was named the North Star Athletic Association Athletic Trainer of the Year for 2018-2019. Outside of his work with the university, Mike also serves as an associate athletic trainer with the Justin Sports Medicine program, which supports the Professional Rodeo Cowboy Association. He belongs to the National Athletic Trainers Association, Mid-America Athletic Trainers Association, Nebraska State Athletic Trainers Association, and the National Strength and Conditioning Association. Mike resides in Bellevue with his wife, Sarah, and sons, Jake and Matt.
Hello, Bellevue University. How's it going? This is Juan Carciente coming to you postponed and probably edited as well from Rosario, Argentina. Spent a lot of time with Mike, first as an athlete, as heard quite a bit. Then as a student athletic trainer, I remember he used to make us watch John Wayne films as part of our training in Jerry Mosser's office. In all these practices and all these road trips that we spent listening to a lot of country music and talking about life, learned quite a bit from him. He's a bit of a mentor and a really good friend to me. Learned how to always tell the truth, always shoot straight, be humble, lead by example, work hard, and a few more things. Learned a few of the bad ones as well. Drink beer and have fun is also part of the things he taught me. Just wanted to say, hey, congratulations. I'm very, very happy for you, and I hope that everybody's doing really good up there. Go Bruins!
How do I know the daddy? Well, I played here for 4 years, and I was probably in the treatment room at least twice a week, 3 times a week. So I got lots of. I don't necessarily if I hung out with Mike much, but he definitely put me on the stair step a fair amount. So that's how our relationship started. But yeah, great guy. Always looked after me when I was injured as a player, and continues to look after the boys now as coaches. So yeah, that's how we came about.
2006, myself and Mark here got off the plane from sunny old England, and it was about 100 degrees, and I thought I was going to burn to death. And I walk into the treatment room, getting a little tour of the campus, and I see this guy.
I don't remember that.
Don't you? I do, in the treatment room.
But that's when he had a little bit of a tash league going on, didn't he?
And he's wearing a camo hat, obviously, and he's a military guy, and he's looking at me and Mark like, who are these English guys coming over here? And
yeah, he didn't like us to start with.
He didn't like us to begin with because we were freshmen, and I was really intimidated by him. I'm sure a lot of people would say that.
Yeah.
But then, get my ankles taped.
Yeah.
From turning them over at Haywood Park back in the day.
Yeah.
That's when the love affair began, I think, with me and the daddy.
Done well and kept players on the field and so on and so on, but to do it and have the relationships with the players and the staff that he's had for that many years, that's impressive, really.
I think it sums it up. He's been here, I think, since 92 or early 90s anyway.
Early 80s, probably.
Early 80s.
Probably 70s.
Yeah. And the joy of when alumni come back or walk through the campus, or they're up here in the weight room, and the first thing they do is give Daddy a hug.
Yeah.
And he's got that little smile on his face, and he's giddy, and he feels like he's 21 again. And,
I think the fact that when people come back, they're happy to see Mike, or Liver Daddy, or Daddy, or whatever they call him. I think that's, like Tom said, that's everything really.
Yeah.
I mean, we're lucky we get to, well, lucky or unlucky, depends how you look at it. We get to see him every single day. So, well, I mean, why he's deserving it because he's been a loyal servant for so many years, and he probably doesn't look at it that way because he absolutely loves it here. I mean, like we do, but. I think he enjoys his job. I think he enjoys the people he's around, and for him, it's probably quite an enjoyable place to be around. But of course, when someone does something and puts so much time and effort and extra effort into something like this, of course, he's deserving of an award like this. I wouldn't look at Mike as just an athletic trainer. Obviously, I think first of all, he's a very good friend. That's that friendship's formed over the last few years, I'd say. But he's also part of the team, 100%. Not a trainer, he's part of the team, part of the coaching staff when we're away on our games and when we're in our season. And I think he sees it that way as well, and that's really important to us, that we have that relationship, both for the team and the boys and us personally, because he's a good dude.
It's no surprise that you've been awarded or been inducted into the Hall of Fame. I know one day there'll probably be a building with your name on it somewhere, unfortunately.
Yeah. The Mike Livergood Athletic Training Room.
Yeah.
That'd be good, wouldn't it?
It would be good.
Yeah.
Very proud. You're a big purple bear. You are the daddy, El Daddy-O, and hopefully you'll be able to buy us a beer for once.
Yeah. Doubtful, but hopefully. Mike, honestly, congratulations for this award. You're 100% deserving of this. I'm sure we'll celebrate at some point. Love you, big guy.
Please welcome to the Hall of Fame, Mike Livergood.
Oh boy. Well, unlike all you other guys, I'm still in this game yet, so I'll be on the vans again. Although the wind doesn't blow through them anymore like they did for some of you guys. They actually do see a lot. The air conditioning works now, Andy. The AC works now in the vans. It's really kind of nice. So some things have changed a little bit. They have a place to plug in your phones and charge them now. It's really cool. So if you old baseball guys, yeah. Oh, you didn't have phones. Sorry. So. Oh, yeah. Don't even need the DVD player anymore. They all just watch their phones, and so it's a little different nowadays than it was. But the videos, I don't like the videos. They mess you up, don't they, guys? That's not fair because they pop all kinds of stuff up there that I didn't even know was coming. So that's pretty cool. I was kind of looking for ideas for the video. I was going to go back and look at other videos and see about some other. And I went to find Mosser's speech, but it was on VHS, so I'm screwed on that. So I can't do that. So, and if anybody does, I had a few of you ask me. You saw my table in there, and I had a potato head sitting there, and I had what's a potato head thing going? Well, Coach Mosser, he would have these awards that he would give people. I'm not really sure the true gist of it still yet today after 20-some years. But I think it was probably the person that gave him the most irritation throughout that year probably. So, and I have a personality that can kind of rub your fur backwards in my way of doing things. So, so I don't know if it's my second or third year here, but I got the Mr. Potato Head Award, which that's on the table back there if you haven't seen him. He literally went into the closet after I received it, because what's this thing, Mr. Potato? And this is like pre-kid era. So, and I'm, I got a 22-year-old and a 19-year-old now. So he stayed in the closet until they were big enough now to play at the Potato Head. And then all the athletes have come back with their kids since then have played the Mr. Potato Head. So he's come out of the closet and been busy. Trisha's kids have played the Mr. Potato Head and everybody else. So yeah, but that's the first award I received at Bellevue University. So I thought I'd bring him back out of the closet again and brush the dust off. So that's what that was all about. So that's the Mr. Potato Head. So that's that one. So, but I do want to thank you for making a poor decision, Coach, and bringing me on. I do appreciate it. I don't think you thought I would stick around as long as I have, especially not outlast you. So I've done that and many others since then. So I'm like almost the oldest character on campus now. So it's kind of crazy to me. So, but I think Coach Mosser had a vision to have an athletic trainer. And bear in mind, he was a D1 athlete. Shocking, but true. He was a Division I athlete at one point in time. So he. Your old players love that, So, but he knew what athletic trainers were, and that was a piece of the puzzle he wanted to get fill in, and bringing me on kind of helped him with that piece of puzzle. So, so it was at the time it was an opportunity for me, because I guarantee you the whirlpool I saw when I first walked in that first day, I would not have put anybody's foot in that whirlpool. It was, I don't know what was in it. Probably tobacco, but it was not something I'd put a foot into, anything else, any other body part. So, but I thought, okay, we can work with this. It was a room maybe about 10, maybe 8 foot by 20 foot, maybe. So it was a bit scary. He's about the only person I knew who could beat Gunnar at horse, and then he played before the three-point line. And I do remember many times Gunnar was upset about that. Sorry, but that's just one of those memories I had too. You guys all have your memories, so. Of course, Gunnar had to leave all upset because he got beat by the AD, the old guy. So, the other Kia and Jason, you guys that are fantastic and should be well honored. You as well. I've spent plenty of time sitting and chit-chatting with you, usually just trying to get a word in when I was trying to have a meeting with him, and you'd still be hanging out in the office for an hour, and I just want to ask him something. So, but you guys are completely deserving, and it's really cool to have you guys back, see some of the videos and the pictures up here. I don't know if you saw me. I was in the center. I had Oakley Blades on. One of those pictures was yours, and I don't think Trish even know that was me in that picture. I don't think she does until I just told her. So I thought it was funny, and I found that. And again, Tyler and Darian, you're somewhere. You guys, these are my assistants now. So for you older characters, I have 2 full-time assistants that help me make my world spin here, and they do a fantastic job and really make what I do look good. As you probably heard from Mark and Tom, I really don't do anything anymore. I just kind of sit around, so I don't do much. And again, this honor probably goes, if anything, more to my family, my wife Sarah, my son Matt, who is now, oh, there he is. Sorry. He looks a little different than the picture, the family photo we just took a year ago. He decided to cut it all off, so I'm okay with it. So, but again, I have my mom and my dad. Believe me, I was so happy to leave for college because as you sit and chat with them tonight, they are not the same people I had left when I was 18. They were people I wanted to get a long way away. So my college trips weren't quite as far as yours, Kia, but I guarantee you 3 hours back in the 80s was a long way away because you had like paid to make a long distance phone call back then. So I was happy to be maybe 1 call a week, $2. It's good. So yeah, thank you, Mom and Dad, for doing that, and again, setting the bar high. You know, Dad was working every day. He worked for the state of Kansas, the Department of Transportation, doing his thing, helping build interstates. My mom was being valedictorian about everything she ever did, so that was really a kick in the seat for me because I wasn't, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, so school was something I had to really work at, and she did not give me any wiggle room when it came to that kind of stuff. So again, I appreciate all those things, although it seems like little now, but then it was, I want to get out of here right now. I got to go to college because I got to get away from these parents. They're killing me. And again, the college, the high school counselor, don't know who he was, said I'd never get a degree. So I'd never get an undergraduate degree and beyond a master's degree. And so I'd love to have him here tonight because he's obviously was not one of the smarter counselors in high school. So that was my chip on my shoulder for you guys. You talked about that, Gunnar. So the coaches in here, and again, some of you guys may or may not have the coaches in here, but the coaches we have here, we really are like a family, and it's really a cool culture we have. And I don't think a lot of other schools, NEI or even bigger, have the kind of culture we have. And it's kind of cool. And again, does that mean we get along great a lot of times? Well, we also fight a lot too, just like family. All right. And so that's really kind of unique for us, as we like to butt heads, but we have a lot of fun. So if you haven't had a chance to chat with these coaches in here, get a chance to sit and chat with them before they take off tonight, and I guarantee you they will be running out of here. So because I know they have other beverages they want to drink besides water tonight. So catch them quick, say hi to them because they're really cool cats. A couple other folks. Chelsea, wherever you are, I know you're a new member of this family. Oh, there you are, way back there. Yeah. But I know you're a new member of this family, but I know there's going to be great things coming for you, and I want to thank you for things you've done already. As you're just getting ready to get your feet going at 110 miles an hour, you got about a week, and it's going to hit you. Sorry, it's coming. Then I think about Doreen. You think about, where's your office now, Doreen? We kind of stuck you in the middle of it, didn't we? Like now you truly are the hub of what's going on. And you truly support a lot of things. I know you, I know Trish, you guys have done a lot of things to make this thing happen. This is really a cool event. And it's neat to be on this side of it as I've been here on the other side, just sitting there all evening, just relaxing. So it's really neat to have you guys and all the help you guys do to put this together. Then I'd be remiss if I didn't thank Ed for whether we're having chats and there's no way, you can't go in and ask him a question and get it back out. It's not going to happen. I'm going to be spending a little bit of time in there no matter what I do. Yes, thank you, Denley, for nodding, yes. So whether we're having a chat about something, whether you're mentoring me, which I know you are a lot of times, or maybe you're venting to me about many things, those chats are all very valuable to me, and they're really kind of cool. And even though I may have heard that story 5 times, I never mind hearing it the 6th time or the 7th time, all right? So, yeah. Hey, I always smile and listen to your stories, and I love them. So, and the coaches again. you guys, I don't get to travel with you anymore. I don't get to do the baseball anymore like I did with those guys over there. But I guarantee you the coaches meetings that we do have are all the really productive coaches meetings we have. We get on the road. I know Denley, we've had a lot of coaches meetings on the road, and those are really valuable, and they're a lot of fun. And the road itself, you hear about the van trips, you hear about some of these things. Those things are incredibly fun. Even though I have a 10-hour drive to Colorado Springs this next week, those are fun times. Those are the times you get with the teams, or the stuff that's behind the scenes, and the things that I get to do that a lot of people don't see, and that's what really makes it fun. It's really a cool deal. So, to my Scout family, I got a few folks. In my copious amounts of free time, I've been for probably 10 plus years, I've been involved with the Boy Scouts in America, what we call Scouts in America now, teaching leadership and team building, but I just use the outdoors and instead. And so we go on I have great relationships with them. I've been on great adventures. I've camped in my tent from anywhere from like -3 degrees all the way up to 100 plus degrees over my time, anywhere from the boundary waters of Minnesota all the way down to Florida Keys. And so I want to thank my scouting family and friends that are here tonight for your support, because that's another family that I have that's been very huge impact in what I do with the athletes and the leadership that we bring on with the athletes as well. So, because again, my role is different than what the stories you've just heard. My role I hate losing. Don't get me wrong, I hate losing. I even hated losing when we played racquetball back in the old days when we had a racquetball court. Still did it again, though. I didn't ever quit. But I didn't get into this for the wins and losses. I got into this really because I just wanted to help athletes, and really wanted to do that, behind the scenes. And I'm not doing a very good job of that because I keep getting put in front of people like you guys, so I'm not sure how I'm missing out on that. So, but that's really what I wanted to do. But when I all started, I had about 200 square feet of space to work with, as I mentioned to you. Now I have 2 facilities, each about 500 square foot. So I've got a little bit bigger and more room to work with. We have more athletes now to work with, so need more room. There was no weight training program when I started here. You had to go and just to dust off the weights because that was about all the movement they had back in the day. There was no noise, no loud music, no dropping weights. It was really kind of quiet. Nobody used the weight room 10 years ago. It was quiet, at least not very consistently. So, but then we started getting some things going here about 10 years ago, but we couldn't fit the teams, and our space was about 400 square feet. So if you get a tour of the place and you find the volleyball locker room, that was our weight room a few years ago. So I took the athlete. I worked with some of the teams for a couple of years, and I took them outdoors, outside when it was nice out. Well, we went out there a few times in the snowy, but we took them outdoors. And the dropping weights, and I took my, you got to take your little Bose music box. So I took the weights outside. I took the music outside, and not realizing that Dr. Hawkins, our president, had just moved her office space right adjacent to where this sidewalk was. So I was getting her attention. So it wasn't more than a couple years later. She said, she told Ed, we got to find a new space for this weight room here. 'Cause I think she probably just couldn't get any work done because we're out there making noise all the time. So she found us a space of about 3,200 square feet to work in. So we went from about 400 square feet to 3,200 square feet. And so again, I got to thank her for all of her support. But she's given the athlete department is definitely that steadfast constant support from the leadership is really cool to have, especially from a supportive position that I have. So. I've noticed that there's not a whole lot of guys my age anymore doing this job. And I did a quick look. I went and looked at the NATA's website for the information. And right now, you figure the 50-somethings about there's only about 12% right now that are still doing what I'm doing, and only 6% are in the college. So I'm not sure what that means. That maybe they were smart enough to get out, and maybe I should have done that a long time ago. But I'm still in the 11-month gig, standing in the snow, standing in the rain, hitting the bus, vans, climbing through buses in the middle of the night, eating cold pizza, all those kind of fun things you do on the road. So, and then we talk about relationships and the road trips, right? I think Moss and I were just talking about the other day, although the story, he's changed it a little bit, but I had a little slip in a van once when we were coming back from Northwest Missouri State after a basketball game. Was the result the same as some of the other results? Yeah. But anyway, apparently I did a 360 in one of those blue vans. I don't remember that whole spin, but he was sitting shotgun, I was driving, so I was busy driving. He was counting the circles, I guess, I don't know. But maybe that was one of our first impressions that we didn't die, so he's going to keep me along. But again, the snow only came through the van doors when the wind was right back then. So I remember a bus trip to Idaho we took, a bus trip to Idaho for World Series where the bus broke down on the way back. And it took us 3 buses before we got home. That was a nice little 26-hour jaunt across the United States. So, Kia, I do know the length of that trip. It's a long way out there. And we got stuck in the middle of nowhere, Montana. No cell phone, Montana. It was a bad deal. Last year we were in a bus. Bus broke down in the middle of Fargo, got stuck in a blizzard. Negative 25, 26-degree temperatures outdoors. We had to walk. It took us like 10 minutes just to walk 100 yards to the Applebee's to feed the team. And so that was a lot of fun. And so basically we call those what they call hashtag NAI problems. If you want to look up any more of those, there's plenty of them out there. So, but I kind of realized probably when I was probably my 25, 24, probably just a little about Darian's age, I suppose, that I kind of had to kind of start picking up my game and start leading a little bit. I got the next biggest training room. Coach Mosser fixed me up a little bit bigger space, and I was rocking it, and I got out of the little closet. And what I did then is I put up some rules on the wall, and I started enforcing them. And that's when things kind of changed, because what happened is I started having some consistency, then I started building relationships, and then came the nicknames. As you heard them all chatted off right there. You got the Liver Daddy. There was Goose. They missed that one. Because I used to have Ray-Bans, the Aviators when I drove, so Goose was pretty popular for a few years. Then they shortened it to the Daddy. And again, I think Liver Daddy came from our goalie back in the day on the women's soccer team when they first started. So, and it's stuck ever since, which is kind of fun. But that's back to those relationships, because again, a lot of our athletes when they get here, they're really looking for leaders, and they're looking for mentors, they're looking for teachers, and that's these great coaches that are around us. But at the same time, they get kind of tired of those coaches, and they look for more wisdom and more ideas, and so they end up chit-chatting with you, and that's really when it kind of gets fun. They don't know, but they really are leaders, and they're just looking for someone to kind of help them out. Because again, they're the people that are usually the ones that are picking up the balls into practice, that are picking up the cones, or they're doing all those little odd jobs that everybody else is too busy to do. And so they know that their servanthood is already a display of their leadership. And that's really where they are. And they're basically also the first ones to help out the freshmen coming on campus. That's your leaders. And that's really what I've been doing all this time is all I'm doing is just trying to help out. Because I figured if I was coming off the field or off the court and I was thirsty, someone would probably hand me a cup of water or something like that. So, but again, there's so many things behind the scenes that no one sees that really makes it special. The 95 team, which we're talking about tonight as well as last year, the Chad Hawkins and Nick DeLuca, they had some pretty significant injuries. And every day that I was working with them, I didn't think we were going to finish that day. I thought we'd lose and we'd be done, especially the first game, second game, because that's double elimination. And but every day they kept going, and so it's some of those unique things that I know Chad and I share that we did, and really that day when he hit that home run over that right field fence, there were kind of those memories. Gunnar, I remember having a conversation with you. I think it was we were playing Newman. We had a conversation at a hotel once. I won't know why I remember that. I know why I remember that, because it was a really serious conversation you and I had. I don't know if you remember that or not. We was in the hallway, had a really serious conversation. I ain't going into the details of it. HIPAA laws, But it's one of those things where there's those little memories that you run down the road with all these athletes, and all these athletes have a tremendous impact. I mean, you yourself right there last year in the conference championship tournament, right? The blanket won the trophy. That was something you really needed really bad, right? Yeah, because she was sick as a dog, but she was still setting, what I would say conference leadership going right there. Again, and she won that trophy, but she was sick as a dog. And that's the leadership that we continue to have in all different aspects of Bellevue University. And that's kind of the reason why we're successful. So, so again, I want to kind of sum it up because I know you guys have, I'm supposed to be the short one tonight. And this got a lot longer. And it's amazing, Jason, I got so much longer. It wasn't what you intended, was it? But again, so basically, we're going to spend some more time continuing teaching the athletes and continue helping them out. And that's really what I'm doing. Is I'm just kind of in the background trying to help these kids out. There's little troubles here and there. And we kind of patch it up. And we get them back going again. And then off we go. Off we win again. So that's all I got. Go Bruins. Hashtag Big Purple Bears. And thank you, guys. I appreciate all this award. It's really, really humbling. So thank you.
Who knew VHS would be so short-lived, huh? Ron, Jason, Kia, Gunnar, and Mike, congratulations once again on a well-deserved honor. One final round of applause for the collective 2019 Bellevue Athletic Hall of Fame inductees tonight. If you know someone, if you would like to nominate someone for future Bellevue University Athletic Hall of Fame, there are forms on the front desk. You can pick one of those up and fill them out, or there is a link on the BUBruins.com website as well. So hopefully we can meet again next year with another class of people coming in to join this illustrious group. With that, we will close the formal program tonight. We invite you to stick around as long as you would like to visit with old friends, maybe make some new ones as well. Thank you once again for coming out, for your support of Bellevue University and its athletic programs. Good luck to the Bruins in 2019-2020. Thanks again.